Hello everyone and welcome. I'm Dr. S.K. Singh, Ph.D., and I'm glad to have you here today. Today's presentation is titled Concurrent versus Prospective Validation, with a focus on understanding the key differences between these two important approaches. We'll explore what each validation type involves, how they differ, and why these distinctions matter in our work. So, let's get started and dive into this interesting topic. Process validation is all about making sure that our manufacturing processes consistently produce products that meet the quality attributes we've set beforehand. It's a critical step to ensure product reliability and safety. There are two main approaches we use for this validation: prospective validation and concurrent validation. Understanding the differences between these two methods helps us plan more effectively, reduce risks, and stay compliant with regulatory requirements. By choosing the right approach for each situation, we can ensure our processes are robust and trustworthy, aligning perfectly with the overall goal of delivering high-quality products. Prospective validation is conducted before we start commercial manufacturing. It's a crucial step to make sure our process is consistent and reliable. We do this using predefined protocols and validation batches, which help us verify that everything is working as it should. This validation is performed prior to routine production to ensure quality from the very beginning. It's based on our scientific understanding of the process and includes a thorough risk assessment. Usually, we conduct this validation on pilot scale or initial full-scale batches to get a realistic picture of how the process performs. The main goal here is to confirm that our process is under control before we release a product to the market, helping us maintain high standards and ensure safety and efficacy. Concurrent validation is carried out during routine commercial production, meaning it happens while the batches are actually being manufactured for market. This approach allows us to validate processes in real time, ensuring quality is maintained without disrupting ongoing manufacturing. It's typically used when there's an immediate need to distribute the product medically, or when prospective validation isn't practical or feasible. Because of the nature of concurrent validation, we need to intensify our in-process testing and end-product testing to thoroughly monitor each batch. Once the results are acceptable, the batch can be released for market. Essentially, this method balances the need for rapid distribution with maintaining strict quality standards, making it a valuable approach in certain production scenarios. Let's take a closer look at the key differences between prospective validation and concurrent validation. These are two important approaches we use to ensure our methods and processes are reliable and effective. Starting with prospective validation, this involves planning and conducting validation before we actually implement a process or method in routine operations. It's like predicting how well something will work based on initial testing, and then confirming it through future data collection. This approach is often preferred because it helps establish validation up front, giving us confidence before full-scale deployment. On the other hand, concurrent validation is carried out simultaneously with the normal operation of the process. Here, we collect data during routine use to verify that the process remains consistent and reliable over time. This method can be advantageous because it provides real-world evidence of performance, but it requires careful planning to ensure the data collected is meaningful and robust. Both approaches are crucial, but they serve different purposes depending on the context and the level of risk involved. Understanding these differences helps us choose the right validation strategy and maintain the integrity of our processes, which is at the heart of our overall quality assurance efforts. Let's discuss when to use prospective validation. First, it's particularly important when we're dealing with a new product or process. This is a critical time because we need to ensure that everything is robust from the start. Similarly, if there are major changes to our process or equipment, prospective validation helps us confirm that these modifications won't impact quality. When scaling up from pilot to full-scale manufacturing, it's vital to validate prospectively to ensure consistency and reliability at the larger volume. Additionally, for critical products where regulatory expectations are high, Prospective validation is essential to meet those standards and demonstrate control. Finally, it's most appropriate to use prospective validation when we already have an adequate understanding of the process. This allows us to confidently plan and execute validation activities that confirm our process performs as intended before commercialization. Overall, prospective validation is a key tool in our quality assurance toolkit, especially during these pivotal stages. Let's talk about situations where concurrent validation becomes necessary. First, when a product is required urgently to meet patient needs, waiting for traditional validation processes might not be feasible. Second, in cases where only limited batches are manufactured, such as with orphan drugs, performing extensive prospective validation can be challenging. Third, sometimes, we simply can't conduct prospective validation due to constraints like time or resources. In these scenarios, we often make minor, controlled changes to the process, ensuring these changes carry acceptable risk levels. Importantly, when we have sufficient historical product or process data that supports the safety and quality of the product, concurrent validation can be a viable approach. Overall, these points highlight that while prospective validation is ideal, there are specific circumstances where concurrent validation is both practical and necessary. Now, let's take a closer look at concurrent validation. This approach involves using a protocol with an enhanced sampling plan, which means we collect data more frequently and systematically during the process. Real-time data collection allows us to monitor critical parameters as they happen, enabling quick trend analysis and early detection of any deviations. When deviations occur, we have established procedures for handling them promptly to maintain process integrity. All this information is consolidated into a comprehensive concurrent validation report, providing a clear overview of how the process performs under actual operational conditions. Moving on to prospective validation, this process involves obtaining protocol approval upfront, ensuring that all validation activities are planned and authorized before implementation. It also includes risk assessment data, which helps us identify and mitigate potential issues proactively. Equipment qualification is a key part of this, confirming that all equipment operates as intended. Validation batch records document each step and outcome, serving as traceable evidence. Finally, a summary report with predefined acceptance criteria ties everything together, making sure we meet our quality and compliance standards. Now, let's touch on the documentation requirements. Proper documentation is crucial because it provides the traceability and accountability needed for regulatory compliance. Every step, decision, and result must be recorded accurately and systematically, forming a solid foundation for validation activities. This comprehensive documentation supports ongoing process control and continuous improvement efforts. Overall, these elements, from concurrent to prospective validation, form a cohesive framework that ensures our processes are reliable, compliant, and capable of delivering quality products consistently. Let's take a look at the regulatory guidelines we need to keep in mind. These include the WHO, US FDA, EMA, MHRA, and ICH Q8 through Q10. Each of these organizations provides important guidance on validation practices. A key point is that a prospective approach is generally preferred. This means planning validation activities in advance to minimize risks before manufacturing begins. It's considered the best practice because it helps ensure product quality from the outset. However, in some cases, concurrent validation can be acceptable. But this is only when there's a solid scientific justification and a robust control strategy in place. Essentially, if you can demonstrate that validation during ongoing production still maintains quality and compliance, it can be considered acceptable, but only under strict conditions. Overall, these regulatory expectations emphasize proactive planning and the importance of scientific rationale when deviating from ideal validation timelines. This approach supports consistent quality and compliance across the industry, aligning with the overall goal of ensuring patient safety and product efficacy. Both prospective and concurrent validation are essential in demonstrating that our processes are consistent and reliable. Prospective validation is like a proactive approach. It's planned in advance and aims to prevent issues before they occur. Because it's scheduled and methodical, it generally involves lower risk. On the other hand, concurrent validation happens in real time, meaning we observe and verify the process while it's ongoing. It requires more oversight and justification, but it's crucial when immediate validation is necessary. In conclusion, both methods serve important roles. Prospective validation helps us prevent problems up front, while concurrent validation provides ongoing assurance during actual operations. Together, they ensure our processes are robust, consistent, and trustworthy, key themes in maintaining quality and compliance throughout our life cycle. For further support, please don't hesitate to contact us. We're here to help you with any questions or needs that might arise after this presentation. Thank you so much for your time and attention today. We appreciate your engagement and look forward to assisting you further.